So, Mark, did you see that message that we received? It's ageless. We've received this so many times. Please learn the correct pronunciation of Fontainebleau. You continue to say it like fountain, but you're supposed to say Fontainebleau.
Or like Vegas policy says, Fontainebleau.
Let's make a phone call.
Thank you for calling Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, a luxury resort and casino.
There you go, guy. Don't message us.
So Las Vegas is down another tower. Yet another implosion happened last night or this morning at 2 a.m. The Eastside Cannery went down. Lots of people went there. I didn't make it out there, but it looked great. It looked very low key compared to maybe Trop or some of the other implosions.
Yeah, where's the fireworks? Where's the drones? What's going on? Why isn't this more of a spectacle? It's always impressive when you watch one of these, how it collapses on itself and how good they are at doing this. And probably nobody has more practice at it than Vegas. And I was thinking about that before the show. Can you think of any other town that demos stuff so often? And this isn't even that old. And we're talking about demoing stuff that's 10, 15 years old at times. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 17 years for this tower. So I said somebody on X, I said the timeline is accelerating. These casinos are going away quicker than ever, but it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It is on Boulder Highway, but I think it makes sense to have a lower key thing. I saw the Longhorn. They were into that. We talked about their parking spaces and stuff. I guess they sold t-shirts for $12. I saw John Mahaffey had one. So it's cool to see this lesser known casino kind of getting in to the action saying, come here, we're still here.
Dude, year over year, we should do a report on that. It's going to be bad.
But those t-shirts are cool. Longhorn is cool. Goodbye, Eastside Cannery, another one of the casualties of the pandemic, now gone, just like the Fiestas, Texas Station, so many in the past. But let's talk Caesars for a minute. A lot of news with Caesars this last week, Mark. Let's start with this. They added a free cruise on Norwegian Cruise Line for Diamond Elite. Previously, it was just 7 Stars members who got like a free balcony, and now they've added a free ocean view for Diamond Elite. So all the talk about cutting down, we've talked about tier multipliers, how you can get yourself, supercharged into these statuses. And this is another, I guess, carrot if you want to get up to Diamond Elite level.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I know Diamond Elite's a lot more accessible for people than 7 Stars. I've been a Diamond Elite in the past. And especially like you said, if you go on the multiplier days and really kind of play with the system a bit, I think you can get there without taking too much of a hit or, enjoying yourself along the way. And this is a nice perk for it. It's worth probably a couple $1,000s, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think, depending on the cruise you choose, there is restrictions on where you can do it. And I think somebody emailed me this week asking about You Are Comped. And for people out there, they are like an independent host who can get you free cruises with different lines. So maybe, a lot of people who gamble a lot are drowning in free cruises. So keep that in mind. Not everybody needs more. And there's maybe some opportunity if you gamble a lot to have your business shop to these different cruise lines through a company like You Are Comped. So a lot of opportunity, but yeah, it's nice to see Caesars adding something.
Yeah, especially so much they've taken away from diamonds and adding the tiers in the first place, and then getting rid of diamond lounges or Laurel lounges, and now we're dealing with only drinks at certain times and stuff like that. So it's nice to see them give something back.
One other thing to keep in mind is MGM added the gold cruise benefit, and so this is keeping them more competitive with MGM as well.
It's just a cruise off. Which one do you think's better?
Drowning in cruises. That's all I'm going to say. But Caesars is drowning in debt. We talked about their market cap was like $4 billion a few weeks ago. And that is, you can't even build a mega resort for that. And that's because they have a lot of debt. They've sold off the land. But the bombshell rumor that came in the last week was Tillman Fertitta is eyeing a purchase of Caesars. He had started talks in 2018 before, and then talks have started now. There's no purchase price. This is very early on, but Caesar stock has gone up by about 22% since this news sort of leaked. Tillman Fertitta, obviously the main owner of Landry's and Golden Nugget, largest single shareholder of Wynn Resorts. He also bought those several plots of land on the South Strip next to the BLVD Mall. That's now a parking lot, but was supposed to be a casino. And here we go with this. And then we heard a rumor from somebody too, right?
Yeah, we had a viewer reach out that works at Caesars property in the Midwest and said that they saw Tillman Fertitta walking through with a higher up at their casino. So maybe there's some legs to this rumor. It gives a little bit more credence for sure. Maybe checking out some of the other properties that are outside of Vegas. And I don't know. I'm just worried. He's a billionaire for sure, but I don't know that he's got the billions to deal with this sinking ship that is Caesars and the debt load. Maybe they can restructure. We saw this with El Dorado when they bought it. They didn't have the money to really handle it, and there was even bigger debt load. And that's why they sold the property out from under themselves to try to nibble away at some of that. But you've lost the most valuable asset you had in the process, and there's still a huge amount of debt. So it's not like selling that land got you debt free, which would have been one thing. It just barely took a chip off the iceberg.
I think you should just build a casino on the Strip with that money. I think it has a perfect location and it's going to do well, and it would probably take from other businesses. But the aging portfolio of Caesars, I don't know how well it fits. He did, if you go to Atlantic City, look at the Trump Marina Hotel and its transformation into Golden Nugget. It was miraculous, basically, similar to what Hard Rock has done with some stuff. And so he does have some, experience turning older casinos into something new. He's done a lot with the Golden Nugget brand, but it's weird that he is sort of like split off he has a separate land on the Strip. You, of course, have Golden Nugget as its own company, which he stepped away from for being the ambassador. And then, of course, you have his stake in Wynn, which is this whole other thing.
Yeah, just plug more money into Wynn. Do that.
But yeah, let us know. I mean, it seems like this is early on, but definitely something that they are talking about. These things do happen all the time. No guarantee of a sale. This is a challenged company, Caesars Entertainment. And truthfully, the executives probably think it's worth more than what it's valued on the stock market. And you guys can chime in down below whether you think that's true or not.
Well, I mean, El Dorado paid a ton more for it, so I doubt that they would really want this to go down the way it's looking.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. You can get access to our weekly after show or all access with live streams, bonus content, savings guides, and more. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to our amazing Patreon community.
Thank you, everybody.
So we can't go a show without talking about Four Queens and the recent controversy over the sundry shops on the Strip and the $13 Snickers bars and the crazy waters and all of that. And our buddy Tim Lager over at Four Queens made a video similar, but showing their prices: $2.25 for a Snickers bar, $4 for a large smart water. I think they're doing this right. I mean, just find the trends, find what everybody is doing, and then show that you're providing value. I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, I think it's smart advertising, and it's kind of going at the people that say Vegas is too expensive, there's no value left. And there's definitely value left. Like, I feel like I pay more than that for those items at a gas station. So that's a really good deal inside a casino, and means you don't have to go off property. If you just want to grab a snack, a quick bite to eat, or you're walking through on the way up to your room, you don't need to go to an ABC store. You can just pop right in there and grab your stuff, whatever you need to get, which I think is the way it should be. And even if it's on the Strip, $5 or $6 for a Snickers bar, I don't think people would freak out. When you get to like $12, it's crazy. And we're talking $2 over here. So the value's there, and I love that they keep showing it to the people. And they talk about no parking with a player's card, but no resort fees, and never had them.
Yeah, it's a good value over there. I think that no matter the prices, we could debate that. I think that the downtown casinos have less of a captive audience because it's just easier to go around. So they have to compete more in that way. But just put the damn prices on the thing. The fact that you don't have prices and you can just charge whatever you want based on the time of day, this isn't good. And I think this is the worst part of the process. If you want to put $13 on a Snickers bar, put that price on the thing, then fine. But don't make me go in and be embarrassed when you scan up and I expected a $5. I expected it to be expensive and it's $5 and it's $13. And now what do I do? Save face? I mean, the people who work in those sundry shops, they got to be stone cold killers.
I mean, they probably don't care. They're like, yeah, I don't blame you. But now if you have to ask for the price of it, you can't afford it. So I guess we all can't afford Snickers these days.
I mean, I talked about it last year when I went to the movie theater at Green Valley Ranch and it was $9 for a soda. And I thought it was $6. I thought it would be $6 because they didn't have it on the board. And I paid my $9 embarrassingly. And I think I would pay the 13 for the Snickers, but it doesn't make it right.
I mean, 13 Snickers. If I had a couple beers with me, I'd be like, no, thanks. Bye.
Well, it's almost pool season, Mark. So what do you do when it's almost pool season? You shut down your pool and start destroying it. I guess this is what Luxor is doing to one of their pool areas. And we got some pictures. This was in the Review Journal. And they said that they're going to add more deck space, which to me means they're going to make the pool smaller. But I'm also thinking that something must have happened, a leak or something, for them to start this project right now as we're about to go into pool season. This doesn't make sense. But they have said that the neighboring pools, they still have one pool there over at Luxor and then Excalibur, MGM Grand. You can use those other pools if you're staying there.
Yeah, I would think that maybe it was just the maintenance that they needed to do would have been too costly. So they said, hey, let's just reconfigure this. You'd think it would have started in November or December if this was the plan all along, and we didn't really hear anything about it. So it's kind of random. Hopefully it becomes something a little bit better, or they offer it. It stinks when you shrink a pool size. So I don't know that it will be better, but we'll have to see when it's all said and done. It's kind of bare out there when you go by. So there's definitely room for improvement. The great news for people, I mean, it's a pain, but go to Mandalay Bay, go to that pool.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but Mandalay Bay definitely available as well. This is the only pool with a walkway that goes right through it in an elevated fashion with people staring at you from the parking garage and all of that. I always thought that was so weird how they built the walkway from the garage right through the middle of the pool area.
It's the only time I've ever seen the pool is when I'm on that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks decent. I mean, it's weird how it's broken up, but this is probably a way to build more cabanas to monetize the space better. That would be my guess. And it was probably, as you said, something happened to force it, but we are getting at least half of a new pool over at Luxor. Also, the airport just got its new restaurant. American Express is beating their chest. They opened their sidecar restaurant. They said they're the only credit card provider with 2 lounges at Harry Reid International Airport. Of course, they opened their first lounge in 2013, the Centurion Lounge. Now Sidecar, their new concept. And this is really for like single travelers, small groups. You go in, it's more of like a restaurant concept, but it's all included with your, let's say, Platinum card. They have premium cocktails, small bites. And I guess it's basically designed to get you in and out quicker. Capital One has a similar sort of concept that I've tried back on the East Coast. And I think it's actually better than lounges most of the time now because everything's so crowded.
Yeah, it looks amazing. A beautiful space. They've always had good design aesthetic at American Express, so that's good to see. And we all know that the space at the Centurion Lounge in Las Vegas is tight and crowded. So instead of seeing a line of people outside of that, maybe we're going to see a line of people outside of this. If you have 4 people in your group, are you not allowed to enter? Is that the way this is getting set up?
No, I don't think so, but that's how they are sort of talking small groups. You and I both know how small this space is. This is the old club lounge space,
Yeah,
kind of at the top
tiny.
of the escalators to the left. So this isn't a giant space. There's a bar in there. So the capacity isn't giant, but it gives more things for Amex cardholders. And the line at, like you say, at the Centurion Lounge is always nuts. I'll give it a try, but I love the Capital One Lounge too. So no,
Yeah,
no
I was going to
loss
say,
there.
just go to Capital One. Hey, if you want an empty lounge, the club used to be empty all the time. They had good salt and pepper popcorn too, and the same lady was always working in there, super nice. I would just pop in there, grab some popcorn, a drink, and leave.
In a second, we're going to talk about the gold windows at Mirage and whether they had gold or not. But before I do that, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. Thousands of you are watching the show and are not subscribed. Help us reach more people. Hit the button. It's free below. Thanks in advance. All right, let's talk Mirage and the gold in the glass. I guess this is one of those old wives' tales of Las Vegas. This is not one that really was on my radar. Supposedly there was real gold in the windows at Mirage, and Vital Vegas wrote this story. I guess he was able to talk to the people at Hard Rock who tested the glass because obviously gold has exploded in value, and any amount of gold in there would be worth significant considering how much glass. And sorry to tell everybody, apparently there never was gold in the glass at Mirage. I didn't even know there was supposed to be, but there you go for everybody out there. Another one of those Vegas myths busted.
It makes me think, remember when there was like gold leaf on everything that they were making, and everybody, that was like the new trend? I wonder if that's died because it's probably gotten so expensive.
Yeah, probably, or just alternative ways to do it. I'm sure that they played with different types of glass and different ways to stain it to get the thing that Steve Wynn wanted. In fact, there was a comment on that article about what was going on with the company that manufactured it and how they were trying different things. But in the end, they tested it, no gold.
I was talking
more.
about food, but that was interesting too.
You were talking about food?
Yeah, don't you remember when they had like gold leaf on the food?
Yeah, well, no, I know that, but yeah, well, that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And let's close with this, cashless machines. So this whole hubbub started this week. I guess Plaza is installing these new cashless machines, or the ability to load the machine from your bank account directly at the machine. So we've talked about different phases of this over the years and different controversy. Remember that viral video, I don't know, a year or two ago, where the person had like 20,000, they were loading it to the machine. In that case, they had a digital wallet, and that's sort of what's existed before. Resorts World famously opened with a digital wallet. You could deposit money in there, and then you could transfer from your wallet to the machine. But this next version of it doesn't require you to have a player's card, doesn't require you to have a digital wallet, just a QR code. And right at the machine, you can instantly transfer money from your bank account. And so I saw Las Vegas locally talking about this a lot this week. We saw a picture of these machines being installed at Plaza. In 2025, this technology was approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board. And one interesting sort of fact, in Acres' own data, Acres is the company who makes this technology, they say that cashless players purchased 92% more gaming credits per session than cash-funded players and were more likely to repurchase credits. That comes from a Nevada Independent article citing Acres' own research. So the question is this good for gamblers? I think you probably know my answer.
Yeah, no, definitely not good. I'm not surprised that it leads to more people buying in for larger amounts or rebuying. It's the same thing you see with credit cards. That's why I never understand why the stores complain about paying the 3% or whatever. They think it's too high. Well, people spend way more than that by using your credit card because they versus cash. They come in, they just routinely over time spend a ton more money. I wouldn't have thought 92%. I think that is an insane number and it's scary.
Yeah, a lot about this is scary. Another way they sell this technology is it reduces labor costs by about 6% for cash handling. That's what they say on the casino's side. And then the coin in is increased by 38%. So all these numbers, and different things in their studies, and you guys can go look at them, but it shows that gamblers gamble more when they don't have that barrier. And the previous wallet situation, we debated that a lot. I don't think in reality it turned out to be too bad because you still had to deposit into the wallet and there was some barriers there. But what is the problem with going to an ATM, forcing somebody to do that? I think that at the very least should be a good barrier to entry. Being able to pull up your phone, scan a QR code, and then deposit the money right into the machine. This is something you can do on the online casinos that I think is troubling as well. But maybe that's their argument, is that you can already do this online and, what are they doing? But this just isn't good. Like, I don't see how anybody who works in the industry could look at this and say, we're doing good work here.
Yeah, it's definitely a negative for the player. I mean, it's a positive in the fact that you can get easier access. If you want to get more money in, then you can, which you run into the barriers at the ATM where maybe you have daily limits or things like that. But then people will go to the cage and use a credit card and pay all those fees. So I guess they could potentially save money this way. I guess that's the spin zone we could do there. But another thing, like, what are the ATM owners going to do? We saw Las Vegas locally shared where there was a MGM ATM receipt for, I think it was like $54 for a withdrawal. Like, that's crazy. How much are they? They're going to make it up more and people losing money gambling, but those fees rack up pretty well.
Well, who's to say they're not charging a fee at the machine to do that?
That's true.
From your bank account. And yeah, Every makes a lot of the ATMs in town. I think that particular receipt that we saw definitely was a cash advance. And so it was a little bit misleading in that it wasn't a regular. But I think on the Strip, you're looking between $12 and $15, depending on the casino. I think I've seen 15, but 12 is pretty common on the Strip these days for an ATM sort of thing. And at local casinos, $7-8, depending. Some are cheaper and they market it that way. Another stat I came across in the research for this, according to the American Psychiatric Association, more than 80% of people with a gambling addiction never seek help for it. And I just think that at some level, the industry should stop this. You're doing really well, better than ever. Technology has helped you. It has built your business. It has boomed. One of the reasons Tillman Fertitta wants to buy Caesars is not because of the aging properties here. It's because of the digital footprint that they built with their apps and stuff like that, which is a very successful part of the business. So you're doing well. Why do you got to keep putting the screws to people knowing that these sorts of numbers exist? And this is actually a reality. It's bad. And it sucks when the gaming industry goes this way.
Well, I blame the gaming board more than anybody. I mean, you can't, if you're a business and you're trying to make money, they're going to do whatever they can and whatever's legal. And the gaming board should have been the ones to step up and say, you know what, this isn't good. We don't think this is fair. There should be limits on online stuff too, I think, which is weird. You have the ATM withdrawal limits. Every bank has them. But when you're doing online sportsbook, the bank will just let you do 5,000, 10,000. Like, they don't think anything of it, which blows my mind.
Yeah, the world has changed a lot. And I think the industry needs to kind of keep up on the, being responsible side with the problem gambling. I've seen the behind the scenes a little bit, and it's really not a concern among most people who work in this industry, despite the fact that they're taking record revenues, doing better than ever. And at what point do regulators have to protect people and just say, like walking 5 feet to an ATM, we're not talking about banning, there's all kinds of things that would go further. And it's just like, oh yeah, you can't walk 5 feet. Maybe that little walk is a good thing. Maybe forcing people to break up transactions is a good thing. Maybe putting limits is a good thing. And yeah, I mean, it's basically, this has been the move for 30 years, right? Going from coins to just tickets. Think about how just having a ticket opened you up. You can win a jackpot here, and instead of getting the cash in your hand and maybe put it away, you get a ticket, you bring it to the next machine, and you're probably going to lose more. The whole psychology of this has only gone one way.
Yeah, I mean, chips at tables are the same way. You don't, if you were putting money down every time you bet, it'd feel a lot different than putting a colorful chips out there. A lot of people put their wallet up in their room in the safe or whatever. So if they do lose, they have to take that walk and take the ride in the elevator up to their safe, pull the money out, and that gives them time to cool down, maybe think about it again, maybe not pull out what they thought they were going to pull out and stuff, which you would do if it's immediate. Like you're like, oh crap, can't believe I just lost that. Let me put it in now. Where you go upstairs, it takes you 15, 20 minutes round trip, and maybe you're like, all right, let's calm down. Let's do less than that and just try to have some fun. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. It's going to be bad. I mean, part of it is on us. Just don't do it. Don't do the QR code thing.
Yeah, go back to that 80% of problem gamblers never seek help.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what everybody has to say. We're not condemning Plaza. This is the first. All the casinos will do it. They are trying to get a competitive advantage too. All this technology sells to them how they can market to players, how they can optimize comps. All of this sort of stuff happens at the gaming conventions when they release all this technology. And if your competitors using it, then you're at a disadvantage if you're not, or at least that's the way to look at it. So I'm not trying to trash any particular casino or Plaza or anything. It's this I think regulators should have never allowed this to happen. And that would be a much better place to stop it than on the individual casino level.
Yeah, we should say, if you, one more time, get the Charles Schwab debit card. If you don't like ATM fees, it will wipe it all off no matter what it is. If it's $15, $30, $50, they take care of it. So get that if you end up taking money out at the casino a lot.
So let us know what you guys think about this subject. Cashless gaming, scanning a QR code, Tillman Fertitta buying Caesars. How do you say Fontainebleau? Let us know down in the comments. We do 3 shows a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Don't tell me how to say Fontainebleau. Bye.
Fontainebleau. Have a good week, everybody. Weekend.